Good morning. It is Thursday, October 27th. Got a nice cool morning. It's mid-30s, east-southeast wind, high pressure, but the air still feels a little heavy. I'm off today and tomorrow. Ryan and I are back down at the River Bottom Farm. We're back in this pond set that we hung last weekend and hunted last weekend. We filmed that broken G2 10 and then that nice young 8 with the flyer, big brows. It feels great this morning. We've already got some activity. We had a doe come under us, and that 8-point with the flyer and the big brows ended up coming right at the base of the tree. Worked a few rubs right here and then worked his way off. There's been a lot of activity on the farm the last couple days. We got that front that blew through, and wind switched out of the north. Everything cooled off. It rained, and so the scrapes have been, all the bucks are hitting the scrapes. The cameras have been going crazy. That broken G2 10 has busted off 2 more tines. We got pictures of Kelce back in the big peninsula. He had been fighting. He's got hair missing off of his shoulders and blood and everything else, so they're really feeling it. It's my favorite time of year to be in a tree. We're going to do some rattling this morning. In fact, I'm going to do a sequence here in the next 5 or 10 minutes. We're going to enjoy the sunrise for a couple more minutes and then see if we can't rattle Kelce in. Kelce. I can see Kelce walking to the left. Alright, that doe's coming in here. Big doe's coming in. He's following her. There he is, you see him right there? That's him right there in the light, in the sunlight. You see him? Yes, sir. He's standing there, he just moved his head. Okay, he's moving to the right. Yep. He's directly, she just walked between. You see the yellow tree to the right of the red tree? Yes. He is under that tree. I should be filming him then. So open. All right, there he is. Okay, red tree. He's coming this direction. He's coming to check out the rattling. Let's see what he does. Encounter number one with Kelce. I thought that was going to happen there for a minute. He was off on the other side of the peninsula, and I just spotted a group of deer. I spotted a small buck. And I couldn't see him very well, just glassed, and all of a sudden he was in the group. And the main doe was heading this way, but then she ended up turning and going out to the grass. And he worked his way back towards the river. I had grunted a couple times. He never even turned his ears. I tried to snort wheeze. And so when he got along the river and was heading away from us, I did a little rattling. And then I spotted him. He started working a scrape. And then he made his way this direction. Stopped and worked a scrape at about 80 yards. And the closest he got was about 46 at walking. And when he got down to these logs right here, I was hoping he'd turn and come on this side. But he stood there and looked around, and he stopped at 55, right on the trail that 8-point came down this morning, and I was hoping he would turn and follow, but he ended up going into the peninsula, so he may be going in there to bed. He may just go make a loop in there and come back out, so it's not over yet. The buck we call Daggers. What a super mature deer. I mean, he looked huge bodied last year. And his rack's a little smaller than it was last year, and he lost his big daggers off the bases. He's got the little kickers. I don't know how he did it, but he snuck in right behind us. It's one of the disadvantages of hunting in these bigger trunk trees. I can't, it really blocks sound. And Rye heard a twig snap and turned around. He said the deer was just staring up at him at 20 yards. He had caught us moving or something, but it didn't spook him too bad. He worked out. And he worked a scrape at 50, and he worked that same scrape that Kelce did at 80. It's an awesome looking buck. I got my heart set on Kelce, so I'm going to stay after Kelce. It is one that I had talked to Rye about shooting, but he didn't bring his bow, so. We normally get that buck across the river on that little 28-acre piece. That's where I get all of his pictures. I've had his picture once this year on this side of the river, actually right here on this camera. The river's ankle deep in a lot of spots, so I think a lot of deer are crossing it this year that, more than they would on a normal year when the river's deeper and flowing. Really cool to see that deer. It's the first time I've ever seen him in person. Get your heart pumping when you turn around. There's a giant buck standing at 20 yards. He went back into the peninsula the same way Kelce did. Like I said, this peninsula's not very big. We also had a big doe and a spike work their way in there, so we'll see if it doesn't get something stirred up. It's about 11:30, and I was thinking about just sitting here all day. I've got a number of evening pictures of Kelce working his way out of this peninsula right down this trail, but the wind is not cooperating. The wind's supposed to be blowing straight to the river, southeast. We got about a 60-yard gap right here between us and the river, but it keeps getting northeast kicks, and it's blowing right into the peninsula. So I don't know if he's still in here. We had, like I said, a couple does go in there, and I haven't seen anything happening back in there. I tried rattling one more time. He could have easily slipped out along the river or across the river, so who knows. But I think the most important factor is the wind is not cooperating, so we're going to get packed up and make a move. I'm not sure. I've been sitting here thinking for the last hour where I could set up for the afternoon. I'm just not sure, so I'm going to get out of here and go stare at the map and figure out a plan for this afternoon. Well, it's a little bit before 4 o'clock, and we are all set up for the afternoon hunt. We've moved about 150, 200 yards to the north, basically on the edge of the central timber. This wind, this southeast wind, has kind of switched to more easterly and east-northeast. So I just backed up right off the river. Our wind's blowing over the river, and we're between the two peninsulas. This morning we were hunting over my left shoulder here, and I don't know if Kelce's still in there or not, but when I was contemplating all the different spots to go hunt, I figured we'd come get on the edge of this big opening, and it's as much as an observation sit as anything, but sets up well for calling. They can't really get downwind of us without me getting a shot, and we might watch them just come right out of the peninsula. It's a little warmer than it was this morning. It's about 58 degrees, but it still feels pretty good, and the pressure's still high. So we're just going to sit back and relax. We got 3 hours to go, and hopefully we have some good activity. Are you 1.5-year-olds? I mean, what are the chances? That might be the spike. Easy. Oh, look at them. They're posturing. Oh. jungle. Oh man, he's so mean. It's a 2-pointer, a 3-pointer, and a 4-pointer. We just got back to the trucks. We ended up having some deer come under us right at last light there. So waited till they worked off and then tore the set down and got out of there. Ended up seeing 5 young bucks and 1 or 2 does. So overall enjoyable sit. Kelce was a no-show. So I'm gonna get back to the camp and take a look at the map and come up with a game plan for tomorrow.